back to this second episode of Cook with Kavya. I like to start with a little introduction about what we're going to cook today. So today that's the French onion soup, and as always I'd like to dive into the history or just give you a little bit more than just a recipe. So joining us today will be Mathilde. Mathilde and I met when I was in college, in culinary school, and she taught us French. So as you know, in your first year of culinary school, there's a lot of French foundational cooking techniques, and Mathilde was helping us familiarize ourselves with those French terms and what they mean and how to say them. Mathilde has very kindly agreed to join us today to share a piece of French history with us surrounding this iconic soup, and let me just put her on.
Hi Kavya, hello, I'm happy to be here. I had just bought a pack of onions when you contacted me about this interview, so I'm planning to make onion soup in the next week actually. I'm going to talk to you about onion soup that has been part of the French culinary repertoire for so long that it's nearly impossible now to know how it was first invented. The French onion soup likely came out of the famous Les Halles market. King Philippe Auguste founded it in 1135. With merely 25 acres of covered market halls, Les Halles attracted people from all walks of life. Fun fact, my great-great-uncle was actually a baker in Les Halles market. Some people attribute the recipe to King Louis XV, Veekes, who, returning from a hunt, is said to have seen his cupboards completely bare except for onions, butter and champagne. So that was obviously serious first world problems. He threw the lot in a pot, stirred and served, and in this way he created a new and marvelous treat. Either way, the court soon fell in love with it. Aside from enjoying its hard to taste, they realized that it was also rather effective at covering the smell of a heavy night of drinking. As I'm sure you know, France is also famous for its wine. It quickly gained the nickname of the soup of the drunkards. So when I say that it's still today a cure for hangover, I mean if you attend a French wedding, you will probably around 2 or 3 a.m. be served onion soup. So yes, it's still very common today.
So a traditional French onion soup is made with a beef stock, which you make by roasting beef bones along with your stock vegetables, and then you simmer this stock for at least 24 hours. So what you end up with is a really flavorful and deep amber stock. To this you add your caramelized onions, then you finish it with a crouton and lots of cheese. I am not going to be making this beef stock and simmering it overnight, but what we are going to do today is I'm going to show you how to use our French onion soup and elevate your experience of preparing, serving and tasting the soup. So you can skip these steps if you're just looking for a quick fix, because honestly it's very good by itself. But if you have the time, I highly recommend that you spend that little extra effort, and you can make a really special meal for two without too much bother. So there are very few ingredients that you actually need. I've got pepper here, some cheese. You could use cheddar cheese, mozzarella or even Gruyere if you really want to be fancy. I've got my onions here and 2 slices of bread, the non-sweet variety, and some oil. This is what I'm going to serve the soup in, so I'm just going to make sure that the bread fits in the bowl. Trim the edges. Don't throw these away. You could snack on them or you could use them for breadcrumbs. The next thing I'm going to do is slice the onions. So if you actually look at the history of an onion soup, it goes back almost 8,000 years to the time of ancient Rome. because onions have always been, fairly accessible. So when Mathilde was talking about the Leal market and how it used to attract people from all walks of life, even the restaurants were frequented by many people. So in a way, the French onion soup actually broke down class barriers and was a unifier of sorts. So once the onions are done, I'm just going to toast the bread till it's light brown on either side. This shouldn't take too long. If you have oven-proof bowls, then you actually needn't even put it in the oven now. You could just top it with cheese after your soup is done and then put the entire thing in the oven. So the cheese kind of melts into the soup. Right, so now we're going to get on to the garnish. You need to saute your onions till they're nice and brown. I always add a little bit of salt, just a pinch, to draw out the moisture and to draw out the flavor as well. This should take around maybe 7 to 8 minutes. Give it a mix from time to time. You want caramelized onions, you don't want burnt onions. So this is done. Now just put it into the bowl you're going to serve it in. Okay, so at this stage you can pop your toast or your croutons in the oven, and in the same pan, so you don't really lose the wonderful flavor of the onions, I'm going to add 2 cups of water. This is around 400 ml. So all our soup mixes use the same proportions, which is 1 sachet of a soup mix and 2 cups of water. Give that a good mix so that it's evenly dispersed, and then I'm just going to turn it on and allow it to thicken. This should take around 2 minutes at the most. Yeah, so the soup is ready. By now, even the cheese would have melted over the crouton. So I've got this lovely brown soup. Okay, so I'm just going to pop the crouton on top. You could even just have the crouton on the side. You don't really need to put it on the soup.